When you first heard the stories of the people who were harmed by the eugenics program, what was your response as a woman and as a government official?
I'm a woman, a mom, and a grandmom, so I was horrified, really horrified. It's hard to believe that in America you had more than 30 states who practiced this kind of behavior. And they did it publicly, they did it legally, they did it without any kind of shame, and I thought it was horrific.
You were lieutenant governor when Governor Easley acknowledged this and sent an email to the Winston-Salem Journal. What's happened since?
Well, since I've been governor, and Governor Easley did begin the work, and there was a public acknowledgement by the administration, and that was the first step. But as the word has been spread in North Carolina, and as I've stood up a special committee, I have a task force on eugenics, and we've done these public hearings. We've amassed enough critical data that people can't discount it. And from my perspective, the most important thing is developing a strategy to have this permanently placed in our Museum of History so that people will never forget that even in North Carolina, in America, there were very dark periods in our history.
Post-World War II, there were 33 states that had some kind of eugenics program. And after the horrors of World War II, states started to decrease their numbers. North Carolina's numbers went up. As you look back historically as governor, is there any explanation for that?
You can't explain why people did things. You can't explain why bad decisions were made by leaders and by countries all over the world. You can't rewind the watch or rewrite history. You just have to go forward, and that's what we're trying to do in North Carolina.
People want some kind of compensation. How do you begin to decide if that's $20,000, $30,000, or $100,000?
There are all kinds of discussions going on in the General Assembly, I'm sure. The General Assembly is the entity that will actually decide on the final amount. I will send over a budget that actually has a piece in it, a line item. But again, I think it's belittling to the whole episode in North Carolina's history that there is this conversation about how much is it worth for me to have a baby?
Really?
How much is it worth for me? Yeah.
But it's compensation of some sort. I mean,
sure,
most
we're
people...
going to do that. But for my state, it is not just about the money. It's about the people, and it's about the stories. If you could come and sit with me in one of these hearings and listen to these men and women stand up in a public room with all kinds of cameras running as they cry, telling their story, you would understand where I'm coming from. No amount of money can pay them back. And the fact that someone would attempt to put a dollar figure on it begs a challenge from me, but we're going to do that in North Carolina.
What about offering educational benefits, health care for life? Could that be done with an executive order?
No, you can't do anything with an executive order that requires money because the General Assembly are the bankers and the appropriators. It would be nice if I could. I'd like to have a magic wand and allow me to make all the decisions once in a while. It would be much simpler and easier and more focused, but that's not the way any kind of government works, and I'm sorry about that some days. What I can do and what I will do is send over a package through my eugenics task force. They are beginning that process now. I believe there will be mental health benefits. I believe there will be recommendations for other kind of health benefits. I know there will be a monetary recommendation. I know there will be recommendations about the permanent exhibit, and I can do some of this, the exhibit, through my own Department of Cultural Resources. The recommendations will be strong, Nancy. I don't want to leave you having any kind of conversation that devalues what my state is doing. Let me be very direct with you. I'm the only governor in America who has taken this directly on hand. I'm the only governor in America who has said this happened in our history and it's unacceptable.